Hey, what's going on, guys? So before we get into this video, I want to give a huge spoiler warning to any anime only viewers, okay? This is going to have a massive spoiler for the Boruto story for something at the rate that the anime is adapting stuff. You're not going to be getting this for a while, okay? I can promise you that. You're not going to be getting this for a while, but if you do not want to be spoiled about something major that is happening, click off the video. Check out some of the other content on the channel, but I'm going to be talking about something that happened in Boruto chapter 29. So with that out of the way, I'm assuming if you're here, you're completely okay with any type of spoiler talk. So I was reading the comments that I got on the Boruto chapter 29 review, which there was so much of an overwhelming positive response to the chapter review that like when the next chapter comes out, I will be reviewing the Boruto manga chapter. And when I get caught up on the anime, I'll start doing the anime reviews because that works for me better now that the anime comes out on Sundays. But I was reading the comments and a couple people, pointed out, they said, hey, did you miss the fact that Kashin Koji had Sage Mode? And I said, what the hell? I know I didn't miss that. And I take great pride in the fact that like when I read manga, right? Like if you're familiar with any of my One Piece reviews, you know that I'm always paying attention to panel placement and layout. Like in the video I did with Anime Balls Deep, we actually had a part that ended up getting cut out where I was talking about the panel placement in Naruto Gaiden about showing the progression into how Sarada actually got her Sharingan and how Kishimoto just stacked everything on top of each other, and how like when you look at how Sasuke is on one side and how Sarada Sharingan is active on the other, just a bunch of different small things that kind of showed how the Sharingan was going to be revealed and little small things that Kishimoto likes to do. And so I said, well, you know what? Maybe I did miss it. So I went back and I read it like I would read a Naruto chapter. So I started paying very close attention to the panels and how they're placed together. Because, Ikimoto, the guy who draws the manga, doesn't do the story, but he draws the manga and has been working with Kishimoto for a really long time. I started noticing some similarities. And the thing is I was like, wait a second. I was like, oh my God, Kashin Koji, when you look at his eyes, he could be using Sage Mode, and it could explain why he was able to find Kawaki so quickly. And at the same time, I want to say this could be yet again another breadcrumb, another nod to the fact that, yep, Kashin Koji's Jiraiya, this is just another thing to it. But at the same time, it's just like, well, let's wait a second, okay? I do think that it's possible that that could just be the jutsu that he's using. Like with Kashin Koji, he let that toad go out right before we saw that. Like when he got into the village and he's sneaking around, that toad just pops off his vest, right? Out of that utility hold or whatever he's got. It pops out and you see an emphasis on Koji. And then when the chapter ends, you see Kashin Koji using what it looks like is some variation of Sage Mode, depending on who you ask. But it could just as easily be that toad that he used, it's been set free. So, I mean, that is a possibility. I do think that this is a very interesting question. This is a really interesting question. Is he using Sage Mode? And if this is the case, is this a good idea? Because we do know that Sage Mode gives you an immense buff in power. Like it puts your power level on a completely different level. And I think one of the problems that a lot of fans have is a lot of fans immediately say, well, if somebody's using Sage Mode, then they're just as strong as Naruto was when he fought Pain. That's not true. Like Sage Mode is going to be a buff on whatever your current state is. So if you have a character who's a lot weaker, and they go into Sage Mode, they don't automatically just jump up to that same level. There's an unknown multiplier. I guess like a good way to put it would be, I feel like a lot of the Boruto fans make the same mistake that a lot of Dragon Ball fans have. A lot of Dragon Ball fans feel like, if you go into Super Saiyan 2, then you're at a minimum as strong as Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. It's like, no, it's a multiplier based on whatever your base is. well, if you get the power of a god, you're as strong as Super Saiyan God Goku. And it's just like, but in their base form, they're stronger than Super Saiyan God Goku because Goku absorbed the God essence. And I'm going to get back to the Boruto stuff. I'm using that as an example. Like a lot of people miss the small stuff that was put into the series. And so I feel like a lot of times we overlook the context. And so I say that to say if Kashin Koji is in his base level, clearly stronger than Konohamaru's a Jonin. And I know in the anime, Konohamaru's a joke. In the manga, Konohamaru wasn't exactly fodder. You know, he held his own for a little bit. He showed some impressive sealing jutsu or whatnot. But if Konohamaru is supposed to be one of these elite Jonin and Kashin Koji casually demolishes this guy in his base form, if he's using Sage Mode, then if he were to show up and if he were to press Naruto in his base, like severely press him or force Naruto to use some type of Sage Mode or something, then we would start understanding how powerful this character is. It would be a great way for us to level the playing field. If all of a sudden, like if they're fighting, base to base and Naruto's having a little trouble with them, and then Koji goes into Sage Mode, it starts showing us about where these characters are on the power scaling, and having characters who are already really strong in the base and then giving them the sage ability, it does open up the door for there to be stronger characters who would be used to bring in the Naruto generation to have them enter into the battlefield. So, that could be interesting, but the problem with that is if you start doing that, one of the huge issues is you start cheapening the Boruto generation, because now the power's gotten too far out of the way for them to even hope to participate in battle, to hope to be able to have an impact. It wouldn't be something like in the Land of Waves where, Zabuza was clearly a Kage level person, and, he was, I feel, nerfed down a little bit in the Land of Waves because he was the first villain and it was meant to showcase Kakashi's power, but Team 7 was able to chip in certain ways in order to help. Now, if the Boruto story did something similar to that, where the new generation is doing what they can to chip in, it could help. But like the power levels at this point are so outrageous that it's like, I don't know if that'd be a good idea. I really don't. I really don't know if that'd be a good idea. But at the same time, though, I get it from a marketing perspective, right? Clearly, they're going with the whole thing of let's just continue to tease that this guy's Jiraiya, and we'll just throw out more breadcrumbs. And maybe it is Jiraiya. There'll be a lot of explaining that needs to be done for why Jiraiya is working with Kara. Maybe that'll explain why Kashin Koji killed one of the members of, I believe, the inner circle of Kara, why Kashin Koji is able to walk through Konoha undetected, because you have to be someone who has chakra registered with Konoha. It would explain why Kashin Koji is as mysterious as he is. It would be somebody playing the spy angle. There's a lot of different things that can be done, but at the same time, if you start doing this, now you're creating a certain level of expectation that I don't know if you can cash that check where you start doing that, because now you're going to risk upsetting a lot of fans. I feel like if they're going to go the direction of Kashin Koji having Sage Mode, at that point, you can't do anything other than reveal this to be Jiraiya. And the reason why I say that is yes, he doesn't look line for line like the Jiraiya that we know, but you have to keep in mind, Ikimoto's art style is different. Kishimoto told him, I want you to draw things in your style of art. That's why Sasuke, as an adult in the manga, doesn't look like Sasuke as Kishimoto drew him. The same thing with Naruto, the same thing with Sarada and Boruto and Mitsuki. They don't look like the Kishimoto designs. It's because Ikimoto's art style is not the same thing. So if you look at Kashin Koji and he doesn't look exactly like Jiraiya, but there's a few similar features there, that's why. He's not going to do it exactly like Kishimoto, but if you were to do this, you have to make it Jiraiya. But then if you do that, you're going to have people who are saying that you're essentially trying to cash in on the Naruto franchise. I think it's a very delicate road. I personally like the idea that he was just using a jutsu. is connected with the toads. He has those markings and that slight change in appearance because he's seeing things through the perspective of the toad, and that something's tied into that. I think that's a much safer direction to take. But you guys let me know what you think down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share the video, and never forget that Senju DNA is love and Senju DNA is life.